What is up, adventures? Welcome to another Who's in the Shop Tonight. I have one of the coolest dudes out there. He is a customizer, 1/6 scale GI Joe collector, uh, tailor, uh, makes some of the most amazing dioramas out there. We all know this guy, and by the way, he also has his own toy company, Atomic Mushroom Toys. Robert from Sog Adventures Internationals. Let's get him on here. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
All
man.
right,
How's it
doing good.
going?
Doing good, man. Glad
How's
to
it
be here.
going? How's everything out in the was it the desert out there?
Oh, it's believe it or not, it's actually cold here. Not like Chicago cold, but
Yeah.
cold enough, right?
Yeah, it's just snowed here today for the first time, I think, this year maybe.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah, we didn't get any snow last week during Christmas. It was the Christmas Eve was 60 62 here.
Oh man.
So I smoked some meat on my smoker, smoked a cigar, drank a beer.
Yeah.
It was wild. I don't mind it though because I grew up with a lot of cold weather, so it doesn't bother me when it's warm. It bothers
Yeah.
some other people, but hey, man, I'm happy that you came on. I mean, we've trying to been set this up for a while now, and I'm super excited to shoot the poo with you about
Yeah.
everything. But before we get going, first off, I want to ask you about Designer Con. I know a while back when I was on Paul's live stream, like the very first time you were on there, you talked to us about Atomic Mushroom Toys, your toy line that you're getting ready to debut. And
Mhm.
I want to know all about that, man.
Yeah, Designer Con is basically a designer convention where like artists like me that are into design and art, just come together and show their wares. That's the time for people like us to interact with our fans and our clients and potential customers, and it's awesome. Like, you go in there and you feel this energy, and I know a lot of people that go there and they all of a sudden they got this urge to just create and make art and make stuff. And it was really good, even though it was close to Christmas. A lot of people, when they moved it, because it's usually in November, and they moved it to like December, and a lot of people were complaining. The show, even though it was a little smaller, um, still had like really good traffic. And the great thing about it is, even though the crowd was slightly smaller, a lot of people were buying, and that's the key to a successful convention. Is you got a lot of people that are really excited and they're buying stuff. And man, it was awesome. New toy. I didn't know how it was going to be received, and when the first two was sold before even the door was open, we were excited because stuff like that didn't happen to us before. And by the end of the show, I only had like five left. And as soon as I put it up on the website, when we came back, it just evaporated, and I was surprised, man, humbled and grateful because for something that we make to get sold out that fast, it was just awesome. Feeling all that love from our fans and stuff. Yeah.
So I want to ask you. So I've seen the robots; they're awesome.
Yeah.
What so square one, when did you decide to like, hey, I'm gonna make this robot line? What inspired you to do this robot line? It reminds me, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Lost in Space meets Shogun Warriors meets like something from Go Hero.
Yeah.
They're super retro cool, but they also have like a fresh new feel. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like
Yeah.
they're super cool. Look, they're so unique and cool looking.
Yeah, it is everything I've been into. I'm into like the old sci-fi movies, and the vintage tin robots back there, and just art in general. Like for instance, like one of the robots, you get all the retro 50s influence, but then you get the guy with the skull head and something like that. An artist named Baksinski. He does these really like like horror horror sci-fi kind of art,
Okay.
and it's very dark and kind of gnarly, something like the band Korn would
Sure.
use as a album cover. I actually think they did use one of his artwork for their album cover.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so yeah, it spans the gamut from toys that I like to movies to like subjects that aren't even immediately relatable. And I just love robots
Yeah,
in
me too.
general. Like our first toy were robots,
Right.
and but when I made the switch to like production in Japan, what was popular at the time were monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the easiest route at the time was to do a monster. So I did the sculpting on that, and I thought I did a really good job. And just like when you're like a musician, all your music you think it's good, but in the end, it's the audience is going to decide what's a hit or not. And what I found out was monsters, like the monster genre, is very taste specific.
Yeah, I can see
Somebody
that.
might be into more cutesy monster, and some would be like into really dark, twisted, horror stuff. And that I found that out quickly because, despite the fact that a lot of people were saying, "Man, that's badass," the sales just wasn't doing it for us. And but what I noticed was like people that collect robots, they if you look at their collection, it it's pretty broad. They'll have like like uh something like straight out of the 50s, and then they'll have Gundams on one
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So what I realized was if I did robots, it wouldn't fall into that same problem with the monster where it's very taste specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of feeling that the the industry was making this paradigm shift towards robot. And because I think it was kind of people were kind of getting burnt out because everybody was doing monsters, and everybody was trying to outdo each other, like, oh, I can make a monster more gross than that, to the point where it's just like all about like eyeballs and claws and stitches and skulls and everything. And when I noticed that, I was thinking, this is going to get boring real fast. So when I decided to take a plunge back into the robots, I noticed that even during production, we were already getting like massive positive feedback. So I went all in because originally it was just going to be like one robot. But the thing with that is, when you do all your tool investment in there to make another robot, you'll have to tool a whole new other body, and that's a big ship to keep turning around and to get people on board. So I had it where the robot is modular, that way it's one general sculpt, but with a lot of accessory parts that it's modular for us, not the customers, where we can like if you saw the Titans, you can see that they're alike but not, because the feet, the chest modules, the packs, the heads are different.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it where the parts in whole would make so many variation, and collectors are really into that, you know, because like with traditionally with Japanese soft vinyl toys, what creators will do to maximize their tool investment is to make an extra arm that would retrofit with what they have already,
Mm-hmm.
and they will stretch out the life of that figure and that mold. And I just circumvented all of that by just from the get-go, just producing the whole line of add-on parts.
Okay, so the when you started out, I'm familiar. I'm totally familiar with your monsters because I think when I first started following you on Instagram several years ago, um, I followed your monster page, your atomic mushroom toy page, and I remember seeing your monsters
Mhm.
on there. I think, and then the robots we talked about, several months ago, and I've seen them a ton of times. So they're all modular. So how many core, is there a core character group of those, or does it just like you could build your own monster or your own robot?
Yeah, it's we could build our own. The only common parts for all of them basically is the chest, the pelvis, the upper arm, and the legs.
Oh,
And
cool.
uh, you know, uh, basically, I have three sets of different arms and legs. I have about four different chest modules, and I have two pack units and three different heads.
Okay.
So with all of those, it's about 30 something parts, which is a lot of parts,
Yeah.
because even the factory was telling us that was one of the most complex projects they'd ever undertaken. But
Cool.
they delivered, and leave it to Japan. They always give you quality parts.
Oh yeah, I can
That's
see
what I
that
love
for
about
sure.
Japanese. They're
So
all,
were they
you
all
know.
cast in different colors then? 'Cause I know there's different color variations, right?
Um,
Y-
so the first order were all like orange color vinyl, and
Okay.
then
Yep.
I just painted it. Well, no, that's not accurate.
Y-
It was orange vinyl, and some parts of the head had to be
Okay.
clear vinyl. Like you saw the one with the dome helmet, that the dome had to be clear, and I just painted the rim so it
Did you
looks
have
like
to use a special paint for the vinyl?
yeah, it's a proprietary paint that the Japanese formulated.
Uh huh.
It's something that they've had since they made vinyl toys. It chemically bonds
Right.
vinyl, because back in the day, kids banged
Yep.
Godzilla figures together, and it has to withstand that. If you do it right, it's amazing the kind of scratch resistance that paint has.
Yeah, I've bought a couple vinyl. I've got a vinyl dye for automotive stuff I use on a lot of my GI Joe stuff, and it works great. I mean, it really
Yeah,
works great. And then I've recently got into Wonder Goblin
yeah,
vinyl paint, which I really like his
that's
stuff a
great.
lot. I had a little bit of an airbrush snafu with it. I got to get that figured out. And I really screwed up a custom. We're doing a video of it, the screw up. So
Yeah.
because I don't really care whether people see me screw up or not. But so so you took these to Designer Con, these the Galaxy Titans. Is that
Yep.
yep, Galaxy Titans.
Mhm.
And I know, you sold out? Did you sell out? I'm pretty sure you sold out, right?
I At the end of the weekend, I had 5 left out of the 12 I brought,
Yeah.
and I was kind of scared because I tried to price it as low as I can,
Uh-huh.
where I wasn't losing money.
Right.
And surprisingly, like I said, we only had 5 left. And on Tuesday, when we came back, I put the rest on our website, and I was so surprised by 4 o'clock that afternoon, they were all gone. I was like, "Holy crap,
That's awesome.
sold out!" And I was like, "That never happened to me before." I was
You got to
just,
be so happy.
I am.
You should be, because they look amazing. And for those of you guys watching this tonight who haven't seen these, you can go to Robert's Instagram, Atomic Mushroom Toys, and you can check these out because I followed you all through DesignerCon, all your videos and stuff, and those things are just super cool looking. They look so like sturdy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
They look like
they
a
are.
sturdy robot. And I wondered if they were vinyl or not. Now I know. And
Yeah,
those are
I know.
super, super cool. I'm glad the reception uh, was so positive too. And so do you guys have plans to continue on with the
Oh
line? And
yeah. We're gonna do. Right now, it's kind of a toss up because we don't know if we can do Monster Palooza. The wife wants to do it. Uh, because we're going to the DFW show and she's my co-pilot, so um, you know, she's trying to get days off for both shows, and she says she's definitely excited because of the reception for the Titan. She wants to do Monster Palooza again this year.
yeah.
So yeah, we're doing that again if she can get the time off, and then DFW and other local shows here.
So you're gonna
Because
take the Titans to all those shows then?
not all of them, because it's a crummy thing in the scene, but you always have to have like an upscale kind of thing for your toys
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these collectors are very they're like art collectors, and if your toy doesn't have the air of upper class, so it's like basically if
Yeah,
you
I
start,
feel you.
you know what I
I
mean, if you
feel you.
start
Yeah.
appearing in like comic conventions, they might look at it like that should be like, because in their eyes they like to see it in like solo shows or gallery shows. And I'm like, I'm not that big yet, so I'm scared to do a solo gallery show because
Yeah.
I don't want to,
Yeah.
organize it and nobody shows up or
And
whatever.
that would be awkward, right?
Yes.
That would be really awkward. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, with something like that, I think it's the Galaxy Titans are they're so unique looking though. I mean, yeah, I think it'll be a total hit at Monster Palooza. I think people will love the hell out of that at Monster Palooza because I think tell me if I'm wrong, that's a pretty eclectic crowd there. Just
Yes.
from me following it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there
Yeah.
just from all
Um,
over everywhere.
yeah, a lot of art collectors, a lot of professional artists
Yeah.
are here. You know,
Yeah,
um,
I think it'd be fun to do that show. I think yeah,
oh,
I think it'd be great.
it's I love it. That's our Super Bowl. And exciting thing about it is next year it's going to be in Vegas.
Oh,
The
is it?
Yeah,
So it
Designer
moves
Con.
around every year.
Well, because Designer Con is usually it used to be in Pasadena, California, and then they moved
Okay.
it to Anaheim. But it's so hard to do business in California that the guy organizing it got fed up and basically moved the whole operation to Las Vegas. So
Okay.
Designer Con is going to be in Las Vegas next year, and
Oh,
I'm happy about that
oh
because
yeah, it's right there in your
no
backyard.
hotel, no
Yeah,
hotel.
you'll be able to spend all day there, spend all your
I can
money.
sit in my own bed.
So
You
have
know,
you? Let me ask you this: are we possibly going to see a Galaxy Titan pop into a Max Sog Adventure International photo story at some point in time?
I don't know. I don't know how, because the backstory on those is, they're huge.
How tall are they?
Like they're like Lovecraftian huge, like a
Yeah,
Cthulhu. I mean, bigger than Godzilla.
they're bigger. They're about as big as a Shogun, then, right?
I
That's
mean,
big.
yeah, I mean, like if they were to run into Godzilla, Godzilla would be around the knee.
Jesus. Oh, so yeah, they're fictional. There's fictional height is giant. Oh, I get it. Okay.
So
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, their
and
backstory. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
love.
I guess. Yeah. You could. I mean, I can see that, but you can still almost make a special one as like a monster robot or something. Which let me switch into the gears. I want to tell you, I absolutely love that alien figure custom that you made. the green head guy.
Oh, the Gorgax.
That is probably one of the most famous custom, or not famous, one of my favorite figures that I've seen somebody come up with. That is such a cool and unique figure, man. Did you sculpt that head?
No, it's the head was done by a fellow toy manufacturer. His name is Paul Shiola, and he runs a company called Mile High Sofubi. And I follow him on Instagram.
Oh,
And
cool.
I saw him do a post where he was doing the vinyl figure with that head on it. It's usually like about this tall.
Uh-huh.
And so it's got a really big, oversized head. And I saw his hand in the background. And I was going, you know, that head is just about the right size for a G.I. Joe body. So I asked him to do me a favor, if he could just pull the head for me in that color that he did, where it's called a double pour. So what he would do is he would pour a different color vinyl in. It would go into the deeper recesses of the mold, and then, you know, pour another color on top of that once it's cured, and it would make this marbled vinyl surface. And I thought it was just so cool. And I didn't know how it was going to fit on a G.I. Joe body because it doesn't have a neck post. But it was so weird because if you cut where the neck is supposed to go, it goes over a G.I. Joe head perfectly.
Really?
Yeah, so you don't take off a G.I. Joe head. You just pop it over the head like a mask.
Uh-huh.
And it just goes right on the chin and the back of the head perfectly. And it holds, they just put a piece of foam on the inside of the head, and that tension holds the alien head perfectly. And it was so perfect. He said, I'm going to send you an extra one. Please make me one, and you don't have to pay me anything.
Oh, man. I saw that, and I was like, oh, man, that's one of the coolest alien customs. I'm telling you, you got to do a Super G.I. Joe storyline with that figure. I'm telling you, man, that would be a great villain for a Super G.I. Joe or a hero, whatever. I just think that's like the coolest figure, you know, of all. You do a lot of really cool stuff, but that right there was the one I was just like, oh man, that thing's super dope looking.
Yeah, if I owned the head, if I owned the molds to those heads, I would definitely like do a release of figures like that.
You know, that's something I think our hobby, you know, lately, you know, I've been on Largo's show, and I know when you guys go on Paul Knapp's show, a lot of people like to talk about the state of the 1/6 scale collector community. And I think it's not a hot topic right now because I don't really think most people care about it, except for the guys who care about it, right? Like, a lot of the new guys that I kind of follow are all into the O-Ring stuff or Classified or Four Horsemen Studios. And I think I dig all of it. It's okay. But I also feel like there's a passion and a creativity in our small group, Axis of Awesome, and everybody else that takes part in our hobby that I don't want to piss anybody off, but I feel like I don't see that passion in those other groups.
You're right.
Maybe I do.
Right.
Maybe there is, but I don't know if I see. Like for example, you, me, Adam, Pat, Elite Action Joe, Tom Spider Monkey, and you know, several other guys who go out and build dioramas, sew custom clothes, take all the time, invest our money that we really don't get anything back out of it, just to make something cool for. Like, it's almost like doing an art piece for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, you know, I've been into this scene since like the mid '90s, maybe even further back than that. And you know, I have never seen this kind. The people in this scene is the most kindest to each other, the most supportive. I mean, to the point where like you'd think we were all blood related or something.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen that with any other hobby, and I've had a lot of hobbies, man. You know, And like some of the things I'm into, I mean, some of the people there, it's cutthroat. It is
Mm-hmm.
cutthroat, and some of them, all you hear is complaining about, this and that, and the rumor mills, and like the drama. It's childlike, and I just don't see that with this community.
No.
I'll give you an example. When I posted on Facebook about how the post office almost lost that, and just with that other robot I showed you earlier, where it was destroyed.
Right.
Rick Bradshaw came out of nowhere, and he said, "Hey, I got this robot. It doesn't work. It's not complete, but it's all in one piece. Let me have your address. I'll send it to you."
Yep.
Guy I hardly know. I was like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" I was like, "Wow." They come to your rescue. I was like, let me at least pay for the shipping, dude. This is unbelievable. And he's like, "Nah, don't worry about it. Just give me your address." And I was like, brother, man,
Yep.
it's just something you do not see
Yep.
in any other hobby. That's like, and that's not rare. I mean, just several months ago, Greg Brown did the same thing for me. With when I was looking for the rocket packs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just blown away. People just sending you free stuff that you don't, without even,
I found that's true. Andy and Indy. Andy's been on Paul's channel several times.
Mm-hmm.
I did that review of that Mecha Godzilla from Super 7 a few weeks ago, and I hated the decals for the belly, and Andy made me a brand new decal. He didn't have to do that. And Andy, I know you're watching tonight. Thank you very much. He's a cool dude. I love Andy.
That was awesome.
And I have noticed that a lot since I started my YouTube channel back in 2019. I've said this. Forgive me if I've mentioned this too much, but I left Facebook behind because I found that I didn't think there was that generosity on Facebook. You get in the groups, you'd ask like, "Hey," and you'd be willing to buy something off people, and crickets. And so that wasn't why I left Facebook, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, you noticed there was almost like a competitiveness or a hoarder mentality on a lot of that stuff. And when I got on YouTube and started doing my videos, and then I started getting on Instagram and running into folks like you and Adam and Pat, and then we formed the Axis of Awesome. It is a great community of people. I'm like I like doing stuff for people. Like if people need something, if I have it, I'll try to send it to them. But then some days I'll just send somebody something out of the blue. Like I'll be thinking about them, and I'll be like, I got 5 of this, and I'll just send it to them.
You sent me stuff.
Yeah.
The scuba.
The weight belt. Yeah, the weight belt. Yeah, and it's just like,
oh, you're one of them, man.
That's kind of the whole idea of the Axis of Awesome, right? It's like it's a group of people. It's our basically our 1/6 scale customizers community of super rad dudes, man.
Community.
And you're a big part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're very unique, and I know you do the same thing as I do, and several other guys. I don't really like to. There's a lot of people who spend a lot of time shitting and complaining, shitting on people and complaining about stuff. That really doesn't accomplish anything. Sending out positivity, giving, trying to be a good dude is way more fulfilling than having a YouTube channel where you just sit and complain about the state of toys.
Yeah.
Like who gives a shit?
I know what you
toys,
mean,
man. What are you doing?
I know what you mean, man.
I'm like, what are we doing here?
Because I'm not naming names, but a lot of the classified channels,
brutal.
Good God, man.
I mean, I'm in that generation. I was born in 1974, so I kind of grew up with the O-Ring, and then all these guys are fans of Classified, or those old Real American Hero fans, and I'm just like, you guys. but that's kind of the sign of the times, though. People like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
complain about everything, but I love
Yeah.
our community, man. It is awesome, and I love the creativity that's coming out of it right now, especially your stuff. Like you've got your own photo story coming, right?
Yeah, I'm still continuing Demon's Eye, and is I just need to get some stuff done up, and filming should resume on that. And you know, I'm kind of like you in a way where I don't try to overthink something too much, and I just kind of jump in there and just go for it, because I find that when I do that, I never get anything done.
Yep.
I never get anything done, because you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? Or I got to write it down. Or I got to make a diagram. I just kind of want to wing it sometimes.
That's what I kind of do. Like Adam and I have talked about this, how we do our photo stories. We do them similar but different. And like I tell you, man, I go out and I start doing it, and I do it, and then I get back and I process it. Maybe I'll change some stuff, but at the end of the day, if I think it's cool, I'm throwing it out there. Like I don't care about I don't care about the dislikes. I laugh at the dislikes because the dislikes are hilarious. But but man, this is super cool, and I really like the way this turned out. And my hope is that everybody else likes it. But if you don't like it,
Dude,
you don't like it.
the last video you and Adam did, that was that was just so like a surreal piece of modern art. I was just like, oh my God, the imagination it took just to put that together, and to make it work. I was like, oh shit.
Thank you, Adam. Adam has surpassed me in photo stories, and he's not going to agree with me. He's going to be like, oh no, I'm like, he really has. He has really embraced it and gotten into it, and really, I think that's the one thing he really loves doing. He even said so on I think the last time we were on Largo together. He basically just buys stuff to do photo stories, which is I'm in that boat too.
Yeah.
But he's gotten so good at those, and I'm excited that you've done the amazing diorama pictures, which
Yeah.
it is a photo story, but it's a one picture that tells a story, right?
Yeah, that was so weird how it all started, because if you look at my channel, you'll see that I'd been on there for many years. But the thing was, I really wasn't doing anything with my account, and I tried to use it for my atomic mushroom business, but nothing was happening with that. So it was kind of like just in limbo for the longest time, and I just got bored one day, and it so happens that I had just bought a GI Joe headquarters, and I just took a bunch of pictures and video, and I thought, hey, let me put that on my YouTube channel, on my YouTube account, just for fun. And when I saw the response on that, I mean, I've never had numbers like that anywhere near that the way that one did, and I thought there's something to this. So I just, well, let me see what happens on the next one. And it was when I started doing that, my subscriber count was 32. I only had 32 subscribers. And it was like that for years, right? And then all of a sudden, within weeks, it was steadily climbing. And I was going, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's awesome.
All of a sudden, it's Sog Adventure International.
Yeah.
And I'm almost at 500, I think.
That's great. It should be more, because your stuff looks so clean. I look at a lot of you guys' photos that you do, and they're so clean looking, and I'm like, damn, those look awesome. I'm just like, your photo dioramas look super clean, and that cool building, that burnout building that you built for that battle or whatever you were doing was just like, I'm like, holy shit, he's built a giant building. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I used to like, I used to be into like Warhammer 40K.
I can see that.
I used to like, during the time when you had to build your own buildings. And so, I would build buildings using cardboard and foam board, and I just upscaled everything, and I really wasn't sure if it was gonna translate well, but I was just surprised that it turned out so as well as it did, and when I was posting it on Facebook, I had my doubts because it was in stages, but everybody seemed to like it, and so I just kept going, doing more weathering on it, and yeah, it turned out great.
So where do you keep that? Is it still together?
Yeah, it's still together. It's on a table, and I kind of did it in a way where I could stack it on top of each other. So it's
cool.
just on a corner of our bedroom on a table. My wife is pretty kind of okay with things right now because we're in a rental house.
Uh-huh.
So when we move to our permanent house, I get to have a basement. So I'm hoping I won't clutter up the rest of the house with my stuff. But believe it or not, my collection is in our master bedroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I used to have a dedicated basement for my studio, but the way this house is formatted, I don't have a basement. So my current studio, which is here, is in the den, which is where a fireplace and everything. So right there is the kitchen. So my stuff is all over the place. It's kind of invading areas of the house that we don't normally have my stuff in, because it's usually all in the basement. It's I kind of miss it because it was really nice and everything. And and then where I shoot the dioramas is actually a bonus room in the master bedroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's connected to the master bedroom. So, that's why I don't do collection shots, because our bedroom's always messy.
Bedroom's there. Yeah, well, you can see kind of mine. My stuff is all in boxes here. Oh my!
I love your workroom, man. Is that what is that, like your basement, or?
So this is my basement right here. Like, this is my furnace room. Actually, this is where our furnace is.
Okay.
I have like a little bit of a mud room off to the side here where I have I got a couple like gun safes because I live in the Midwest. Yeah. Everybody in the Midwest has a gun safe. I got gun safes, and then so I have a giant basement. My house is built in 1906. It's an old basement. It used to be a funeral home a long time ago, back in the early 1900s. It's a really cool old house, but my workshop's right next to this, and it's cool. Then I have a giant long room in my basement where my bar is. So I have 3 rooms in the basement. The rest of the house, that's for my wife and my son. Our whole upstairs is a giant. It's a playroom. Like the kitchen's a freaking playroom. The back porch is a playroom. The bathroom's a playroom. Our bedroom's a playroom. His bedroom's a playroom, and he has a playroom. So it's like, I mean, there's shit everywhere. I mean,
I've seen many parts of your workshop from your videos, man. I'm envious. It's like, I love that look where it's like a for real workshop.
It's rough. Yep. Yep. It's rough. I used to do a lot of woodworking, a few years ago, and then I stopped because I started getting more into this hobby. I wanted to do molding and casting, and I started just getting away from woodworking and focusing more on stuff that I really was interested in. And that's kind of what I do now is, I make some stuff. I make my fuel cans. I'll have to I still got to send you a fuel can one of these days. I'm trying to get stuff for everybody in the Axis of Awesome. I slowly send stuff to everybody, but I make stuff to, for a lot of the photo stories I do. I'm really into building cryptids. I'm making a Bigfoot right now. Adam and I are getting ready to start a new photo story next year, so I got to make some stuff for that. But I love all the outfits that you sew. Like, you sew some of the cleanest, most unique looking outfits. Did you buy fabric from Spoonflower Camouflage?
I have, dude. Well,
great.
When on the first Paul Knapp show I was in, I noticed that both you and Jim mentioned Spoonflower, and I was like, what is that? So I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, I should have known about this place long
Yeah,
ago. I love it, man.
dude, you can find some stuff. And the best thing about Spoonflower, like a lot of the creators on there, like I will email people and be like, hey, I love your pattern. Can you shrink this down to 1/6 scale for me? And they will. They'll shrink it
Oh,
down.
I haven't
And
tried that.
you should try that. And then I place a big order a couple times a year when they have like a 50% off fabric or fat quarters.
I
I'll
love
just
the fat quarters
Me too.
concept.
Yep.
If you like, you could just sample it and see, what something would look like in that pattern. I love
Right.
that concept. That's
Yeah, I've got a lot of fabric right now. I've got stuff cut out, but that's kind of where I'm at. I need starting in 2024. I need to sew. Well, a couple of the photo stores I'm working on right now, I need to sew costumes. I need to sew like fatigues for a couple of guys. I'll tell you, I have two coming up this year. One is called Project Armstark,
Ooh,
and it's going to be a sequel to my Mike Powers 0 Point. It's going to be super
yeah.
dope. It's going to be super dope. It's I'm building and my brother lives about 15 minutes from me. One of my brothers, and he has an old house too, and he has a really cool old basement. And so I'm
Oh,
building a Nazi science lab, and it's in his basement right now.
have you shot a video there before? Because I think
I did.
I might have seen the.
I did. I shot
That was awesome,
I shot
man.
Mike Powers 0 Point there, but it's so funny when he comes home from work, and he comes down in his basement, and there's like a Nazi UFO and a Nazi cryo tank, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well," I said, "if the ATF ever raids your house, it's on you." Like they raid his house, and they're like, "What the hell is this guy's got?" I can see it on the news right now. He's got a Nazi base in his basement, and you're like, "Oh shit." It's my brother's. I'm like, that's not mine, bro. But then the other one I'm making is a sequel to my Footsteps of Giants photo story, and it's gonna be a horror story.
Oh
So
man,
I'm gonna drop it on Halloween, and I got to build props for it too. So I'm kind of trying to do all that,
I
which
suck at that, man. Like
uh,
scheduling stuff, it feels like I gotta do it like months and months in advance just to make it into like my target date.
oh, it's so hard, isn't it?
It is, man. I was like, because I wanted to do like a Halloween video, but I didn't have time to get the zombies ready and stuff like that. I was like, oh my god, man, another Halloween, because I love Halloween.
I do too.
So many years I've been wanting to do something like that, even just set up a diorama just for myself. But now I'm doing videos, and I'm like, I can't get the time right.
And that's the best part about our community too, is like, circling back to all the passion that we all have. All of us have a unique style and viewpoint for our collections. Like a lot of people just like to have I see these channels where everybody's got their stuff perfectly displayed in the back in nice cases. Not me. My shit's either boxed up or it's ready to go out in the field because I'm
Yeah,
using it to make something. And that's what I love about the 1/6 scale stuff is it's so versatile. You can
yeah,
go out to the woods, you can set up a camp, you
yeah.
can do all this really, really cool stuff. And it's so fun. And you can go to like Dollar Tree or Five Below or TJ Maxx or Ross or any of those places
Yep,
and find shit that
yep,
perfectly fits into something you want to do.
yep. I love going to thrift shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like Salvation Army thrift shops and all that stuff. You get the neatest stuff in there. You just never know what you're gonna find.
Oh my gosh, dude. There's so many cool things that you can use to make a photo story or whatever. And
Yeah,
it's just, I have so many ideas. You know, I, and then I see your stuff, I see Adam's stuff, and I'm like, I get more ideas. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. That gives me an idea for something I'd like to do. Like when I saw your alien, I instantly wanted an alien to do my Super Joe storyline, so we got the outer spaceman Orbitron.
Arbitron,
Yeah,
man,
to
that is
do our
that is
photo
such an
story.
awesome. Where did you get that?
So that's this dude, Gary Schaefer. I follow him on Instagram. He has the outerspaceman.com. It's based on that old color form store or toy line that kind of went along with Matt Mason in the 60s, Major Matt Mason.
Mm,
And Four Horsemen Studios revived the brand, I believe, in the early mid 2000s, maybe like 2012. And they started doing brand new 3 3/4, I think, or maybe taller, like maybe 6-inch figure sculpts.
mm,
And then they kind of it ran its course for them. So Gary, I think I'm probably screwing this up, but I'm trying to explain it how I remember reading it. He, along with the original creator, bought the license or got the license from Four Horsemen, maybe, or somebody. So he started doing his own thing. So he does the figures in special color variants. He does like Safubis or whatever, like those.
mm.
He does special ones of those, I think, from Japan. They're high dollar.
Wow.
And then he does the taller vinyl ones like Adam and I both own. Yeah, definitely get on there and check that out. There's some really cool stuff.
I'm definitely gonna look for that. That is that. I mean, that was so perfect. I mean, the look that guy's look is just, everything that like pushes my like buttons, man. Because like the head, right straight out of 50
I
sci-fi.
know. I love that.
Because like with the Gorgax aliens that I have, I'm trying to go for that like Hanna-Barbera kind of
Oh,
look,
you hit it
the way they do their like alien stuff. And
right on.
like with my love too for Johnny Quest, I kind of wanted to merge that sci-fi genre together without having to go Super Joe.
Right. Yep.
Because I know if I plunge into Super Joe, that's going to be a slippery slope. Next thing you know, I have another cabinet
It's a deep
with
hole.
all Super Joe stuff. Because you got to build that different. You can't have a skinny body in there in the outfits. You got to have like somebody that looks
Yeah.
like a superhero in that outfit,
Yep.
like what you guys build.
Yeah, we had to do that. Yeah, we had to do that for those
Because
figures.
even the muscle body, if you went vintage muscle body, it's just not the same because you don't get the same articulation. I think that's why you did the modified arms, right?
Yep. Peter at the Score Review came up with that modified arm design, and then I figured out some legs, and it's a good figure. Like the last part of my photo story, I have that brand new Super Joe with that White Elephant Toys head sculpt, and it's a cool body. I got a video, I think, here in a couple weeks, kind of how I built it, to show everybody how to do it.
It's a perfect look. I love the way that looks because it looks like like a proper Super Joe, like how Super Joe is supposed to look like.
Yeah, my hope is that somebody, White Elephant's done a really good job with making that brand new Super Joe body. Have you seen that, the 8-inch one?
Yeah.
I would really love it if they were able to take the muscle body and kind of give it a fresh upgrade and give it maybe better joints at the arms and the knees and give us a brand new. I would gladly pay $40 for a brand new muscle body.
When I did work with Don Levine, I did a design where I modified the muscle body where it had like double joints on the elbow.
We need that.
And he was very interested in seeing it, and I gave him the drawings, and he said, at the time, he said this would be too expensive to build.
Mm-hmm.
But then Dragon came in with the double joints and everything, and I was like, see, it's very possible to do figures that way.
Well, I think nowadays with the 3D printing and all the stuff that's involved with that, I could totally see somebody doing a body. I would just like to see it. I would like to see an upgraded muscle body, and that would be super cool. I just hope somebody does. I would,
like you said, with the 3D printing, prototyping is a lot cheaper.
Yep.
faster and everything. And with all the smaller, factories that do injection molding, you could even, it's pretty good um, possibility that you can find a factory that can do smaller runs for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got there's lot of really good 3D designers out there now, who are doing awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And I would love to see White Elephant Toys tackle that. I don't know if they ever would. I just know I like to see maybe Cotswold, Greg tackle it, but I don't know. Given the way the economy is right now,
Yeah.
I don't really know. One of the new bodies I really love is that Zika Toys muscle body. I like that body. I bought two of them, and I had custom heads made for them, and you'll see them in my photo stories coming up, and I think you'll be blown away by them. But I like those bodies, and they're only like $30.
Is that the one you did a video on that,
I
right?
did, yeah. Yeah, it's like
That's
$30.
quality
It's a
body,
great
man.
body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's way more to that body than there is to a muscle body.
Oh yeah. The
Way more.
articulation.
So
Articulation is, I mean, to be able to do a body with that much mass and still have that much range of motion.
wild.
I mean, the engineering on that is mind-boggling. It's like everything got computerized and everything just like exponentially went up in quality.
Yeah. I mean,
Design
there's some
was-
great stuff
Yeah.
right now. Cotswold's doing some really great stuff too.
I know. I'm so glad. It seems like the past couple of years they just ramped up production on every level, because like now they're going back to doing outfits and weapons. I'm hoping they restock on some stuff that like the helmets. A lot of their helmets, like the pilot helmets.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that one, and some of the weapons, like that one reproduction of the Takara shotgun that they had.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Stock. Man, that was nice, because I know where that came from. That was like a reproduction of a rare Takara Combat Joe shotgun, and I only managed to get two of those, and I'm hunting those down because it's perfect. It's a perfect look for adventure team, because it's easy to find like super hyper detailed 1/6 scale weapons, but it just doesn't look right with vintage GI Joes. It just meshed.
No.
It's so realistic looking, But everything is, though. I mean, some of the high end figures now, it's scary because they look so human. They got shine in the eyeballs and everything, and it's so photorealistic. It almost looks creepy how realistic it is.
That uncanny valley. It looks like just a small person, right? Yeah, a lot of those manufacturers make some super rad stuff, and it's all like the sewing. The sewing is just like, geez, how do you even sew this stuff? I'm more of I don't know how you are. I'm more of I try to balance out realism, but also with pulp, like a pulp nostalgia.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That was my approach when I had my custom shop. I mixed it together with like a retro look, but cram in as much detail as I can put in there. I think that resonated with Kirk and Don when they saw my stuff. That's how I was able to get a job with them. Because they're old school. They come from that that design sensibility that they had back in the 60s, where because if you make something to scale, it's not as durable. Like what I do is I like to make my own straps.
Right.
Instead of buying it, because it's one, it gives it that 1960s 70s GI Joe Hasbro look.
Yep.
It might be a little bigger than scale, but the overall look, if you're if you're into like the vintage stuff, you're gonna like it because I don't know if you've ever seen like photos of that I posted of the stuff I did back in the day with like with the Delta Force, the Navy SEAL guys and all that.
I don't think I've
You'll
seen
see,
those.
yeah, it's because that's where I can't that's my specialty, like modern military at the time. So I did a lot of Delta Force, Navy SEALs, like different parts of the SEAL team, like SEAL Team 5, where they're in Asia, and then like SEAL Team 6 when they were in Mogadishu and stuff. You know, everything was like period correct and stuff. Had the Protec helmet and all that, but I kept it Hasbro where everything had to be slightly oversized so that's
Hmm.
durable,
Right.
because I even cast my own buckles back then. And
Dang.
for those to withstand like, normal like manipulation from adult hands and not break, I had to make them a little thicker, you know. But overall it gave that look that what if Hasbro kept on going into the 90s and early 2000s in that traditional old way that they did stuff back in the 60s and the 70s. And that's what I came up with.
Yeah. How long did you work with them?
With Kirk and Don,
Yeah.
I just did the that that set of outfits for like the fireman and the cop, but after that, Kirk kind of pointed me out to several of his colleagues that needed work done. So I sort of piggybacked off of that project onto different other projects and companies. So I worked with Ertl. I did work for a sister company of Playmates where I did. I don't know that not many people know about it, but it's also called Real Heroes. But it was 8-inch, like Mego size.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like I did one of a EOD specialist. I did one of astronaut, um, and I think I did one. Yeah, I was a Navy SEAL guy and one of the Delta Force guys. But I
Cool.
never went anywhere because I was like, you guys really should keep it 12-inch, because if you do another format, you know, you're not because you need to pull in the GI Joe collectors because they're not gonna get it's like, because if you go 8-inch, you're piquing the interest of the Mego collectors, but unless it's superheroes, they kind of won't latch onto it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they were kind of hedging their bets for both the Mego collectors and the GI Joe collectors. And the saying goes, if you chase two rabbits, you catch none.
Yep. That's great.
And
That is a great saying, and man, isn't that the toy industry?
mm-hmm,
Wow. Isn't
yep,
that the toy industry now? All
yeah,
the time.
yep.
It's so
You know,
wild. That brings me to my next question. We all like to talk about GI Joe and what we'd like to see out of GI Joe, because I think we're all GI Joe. We all start out with GI Joe, whether it be Adventure Team, whether it be 64, vintage, you know, original GI Joe or Super Joe or O Ring or whatever. Like, what do you have like a if let me ask you this is my question. If Robert was if somebody from Hasbro said, Robert, we love your channel, we love everything you're doing, we've talked to Kirk, we want to bring you in to run GI Joe the line, what would you like to see?
well, I know it's definitely nostalgia driven, period, right? So if we're gonna appeal to the 12-inch collectors, then outwardly it has to have that vintage look. So if I would do a whole new body where outward it looks like the 60s body but with improved joints, where because one of their main concern is we can't do the old style bodies because it's not kid safe. Where I would design it where everything is heat where they put the limbs in, but they have to factory heat it to the point where it's you can't undo the parts at
Heat
home.
weld, like a heat weld, kind of, sort of.
Heat,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But it would have that outward look of a vintage body because that's important. Whether he's going to be naked or with clothes, I would make that to where it harkens back to the original, but the joints are updated, and I would find a way to incorporate more articulation on it, and with the head, I would still go for that like every man, head, like the old GI Joe, where it doesn't have too much of a distinct kind of feature. I might even go go back to the old vintage head, but with maybe like different sculpted hairstyle on it, and of course, if we do like an adventure team thing, that has to be flocked.
Yep.
That would have to be flocked. And I would definitely one of the things I didn't like about the classic collection was the big hands.
The ham hands.
It drove me crazy
Me
because
too.
I looked at the G.I. Jane hands, right? And I was like, that is actually the correct size hand you need to put on the guy.
That's true, man. That's so true.
So that's what I would have done. I said, if I was like a new manager, I would have been like, get that girl's hand on a G.I. Joe hand and make new hands for her.
Yeah. I would like to ask, is it Daryl DePriest? Yeah, I'd like to ask Daryl about that. If I ever talk to him someday, I'm like, what's up with those hands? Like, where did you guys come up with those hands?
You see, what happened there is because they were still using surplus designs that they had for Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the giant Hall of Fame.
They had those big giant grips.
Yep.
And they were still using Hall of Fame grenades.
Oh, shit.
You needed big hands to put over those guns.
I would like to sit in that production meeting and be like, hey, just a normal guy here, but what?
Yeah. Because if you look closely at the Hall of Fame hands and the classic collection hands, and you put them like superimposed to each other, you'll see dimensionally that cavity where they grip stuff is the same.
Oh my God. Yeah. It is. It's basically the Hall of Fame hand cut off at the wrist, right?
Right.
Retooled, and they're rubbery.
Yep. I would have. That's ass backwards to me. I was like, guys, really, you redesigned the hands to fit older stock when you know that down the line you're going to start improving on those guns, and they did.
Oh yeah,
more realistically scaled and everything, and they were beautiful, man. I had a lot of those.
Yep.
And now you got these big ham hock hands that are now got to grip that, and it's all loose. Then of course they moved into the gung ho grip.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, those aren't so bad, but still, if they were a little scaled down, that thing could still work.
They're still big.
Still a little big.
Yeah.
Right.
What's even funnier about that? Now you mentioned those hands. 21st Century Toys turned around and did the same damn thing with their hands.
Yep.
They're like, and I love 21st Century Toys. I mean, Pat from Lead Action, Joe, and I talked about 21st Century Toys and how amazing that company was. But they had an opportunity to say, look at those terrible Hasbro hands. Let's give a realistic hand that'll hold guns. And they said, nah, let's just do the same damn hands. Let's just do the same damn hands.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Especially the early ones. Not only were they huge, but the plastic they used was so stiff.
Yep.
Oh, goodness, man.
Man, we were just so happy, though. We were so happy to have 12-inch figures.
I couldn't believe how they got all that stuff and still maintain that price point that they had in the beginning.
It's like 20-some bucks, right?
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, with a little work, you could really make those things look good right
Oh,
next to a dragon figure.
oh
You
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. I remember when I
Yeah,
first discovered dragon figures, and I went all in on those. I bought all the Army Rangers. I bought a lot of the Green Beret. I've gotten rid of some of them. I still have some of my guys. I still have some I really love. I love the Dragon line. It was great. It was like seeing the when you go into a hobby shop and you have the Tamiya models, the little
yeah,
figures, and it's
yeah,
like seeing it in 12-inch scale. You're like, holy shit,
yeah,
this is exactly what I wanted as a kid.
yeah.
You know?
No, yeah, because Dragon, they just stuck with models back in the day, and I can't help but think that back in the 90s, like I think all the customizers basically showed companies like Dragon there's a market for this, high detail, like historically correct stuff, because during that 90s boom where customers like me or Augie Romero, Tripwire, we were selling stuff, man, and then all of a sudden Dragon came into the scene and just put us all out of business.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, because they saw, hey, look at these guys doing this stuff, and like people are buying this, and they weren't cheap, man. Our outfits was not cheap at all, and Dragon saw that trend and just stepped right in, and with their production resources, we just couldn't compete with those price points. Put us
Yeah,
all
there's so many other ones that popped up. You had Blue Box Toys, Dragon. Shoot, I can't. There's several others I can't remember that came out of
DID,
nowhere. Yeah,
DID, all those guys. Yeah,
and that was kind of like the decline because Hasbro just kind of moved on from it. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, even 21st century, they just disappeared all of a sudden.
Yep. It was
Yeah,
a blink of an eye.
yeah, because they were doing a bunch of stuff, and I was privy to some of the stuff that they had planned, and man, they were planning on doing like a SWAT armored vehicle. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, it never got made. And of course, they were gonna do like an up armored version of the Bradley in
The
tan.
Bradley was my nephews had the Bradley, and that was a hunk of plastic. That
Yeah,
was cool.
they were putting out a bunch of like gnarly vehicles, man. Like, like what's incredible is how they were putting all of that stuff out, and I know that takes a lot of capital to do that. I mean, they came out with like that remote controlled Abrams tank
Yep.
and the remote control Humvee, which I was like, why didn't you just make a version of that where the figure can go in?
Yeah.
Because that was correct scale.
Yep.
So I was like confused. You made these underscaled Humvees, and then you release a remote control version that was correct scale. And I was like, why didn't you just do extra tooling on that so you can have an interior and just have a figure in there?
They got so wild too. They got so elaborate, wild. It was like the Wild West, and
Yeah.
and the price point was still good.
Yep. And then the line of like 1/18 scale stuff that they had.
Yeah,
I was
those are
tempted
cool.
to get into that.
Yeah, that time that what early 2000s probably was the peak, right? 2001 probably.
Yep.
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 2001, 2002 peak. I think that was peak for me collecting all that classic collection. Dragon. I was, I was getting a figure probably every week at the time. Just doing some crazy stuff.
I was surprised at how much stuff they actually made. I only realized that when I started watching Paul's channel.
Oh yeah, the GI Joe stuff.
Yeah, because the wall of his garage was
Yeah.
filled with classic collection era stuff, and I was like, they made that many different figures.
And that psycho has all of them. Paul has a damn Smithsonian for GI Joe.
I know.
It's holy
like,
shit.
that's my go-to guy now, you know, because
Yeah.
like, hey, Paul, when did they make this? You know, I was
And
like,
he know, yeah, he's got so much stuff, and it's just
according
not
to
just
him, he's
GI
still got
Joe.
a few he's got to find.
Yeah, I
Which
know.
boggles, which boggles the mind because you know I've seen videos where you know it sounded like he's about to complete the collection, and then you know guys like Johnny Shedrick just tell him, nope, nope,
There's,
you're
there's
missing this one.
there's another one out there, bro. We got to keep finding it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something funny about GI. Well, I'll tell you first of all. I'll tell you something funny, and then I'll tell you what I think about GI Joe. So I was at Ross day before Christmas Eve, 23rd. I was just looking for some stocking stuffers, and they had all these classified figures for $4.99 at Ross's. Right, 24.99 retail. You know, on sale for $4.99. So I'm looking through them, and I thought, oh, I want to get him a smaller guy to play with because he just doesn't have a small GI Joe. He's not into Marvel Legends or anything like that. I got him Recondo Tiger Force, which
Okay.
I never was a fan of Tiger Force. I thought Tiger Force was the goofy repaints that Hasbro did. I don't like any of their goofy repaints.
Yeah. No.
But I bought him Tiger Force Recondo because I rock a handlebar mustache on occasion, and he has a handlebar. So he gets it for Christmas. He opens it. He looks at it. He's like, "Oh, GI Joe." He takes it out of the package, and he goes, "Dad, the clothes don't come off." And I said, "No, they don't." And he goes, "I wish the clothes had come off."
Uh-huh.
He goes, "How will I change him for different missions?" And this is a 5-year-old, right? So I'm like, "Shit, he gets it."
He gets
Right?
it.
He gets it.
Absolutely.
And he was right. He's like, I'm like, yeah,
No,
you're
that's the
totally right.
fun of it, you know, because
Yeah,
you know, a solid action figure just you can't use your imagination.
nope,
Everything is done for you, and it's compartmentalized in that one thing, and that's it.
yep.
That's it.
The only
You know,
knock I've ever heard anybody throw against the adventure team is they've never had a villain. You don't need a villain to be an adventurer, man.
nope.
You make your own villains. You
Yep.
make your own adventures and you make your own villains. And look, I loved Real American Hero when I was a kid. I see its place in the GI Joe lore, but at the end of the day, everything gets stale, and you can only fight Cobra for so long. You can only have
Right.
so many different repaints of Duke. You can only have so many different repaints of Cobra Commander, and get your special Argentine version of fucking
Yeah.
Lady J. That just like
Right.
I'm like, okay, I
It's
get it,
yeah.
but I want to see something new from GI Joe, right? I want to see a new story, a new direction, because that's the beautiful thing about GI Joe is that it's always managed to reinvent itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's always done that from 1964 on through, but now it feels like we're stuck on this level of Real
Yeah.
American Hero, where
Right.
you've got all these different licenses making O-rings and classified. I would just love to see them pull all the tent stakes, come back in, hire somebody if you have to. Like I'd love to see like Jack Carr, right? So hire Jack Carr and say, you know what, Jack, we love all your we love all your your Terminalist book and all the other different books you've written for that character. Would you like, kind of like Larry Hama, would you like to be our new face of GI Joe? He
Yeah.
creates a whole new story, and it doesn't even have to be military centric.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
keep telling everybody that GI Joe should. Why not now have a GI Joe where you got a core group of guys who are all veterans of the last 20 years of a failed foreign policy. People have blown off limbs, could be a new Atomic Man, lost it in IED, and you got a brand new group of guys who are going around the world on adventures, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
why are we not pushing the envelope of creativity? And it's just like, why are 50-year-old guys like
I
ourselves
know.
sitting in a basement and you sitting at home
They're,
with way more creativity
it's
than
like
these
they're
people?
underestimating a kid's ability to understand stuff beyond, you know, shooting each other and everything.
Yeah.
like that guy that did the that skydive from Felix,
Felix Baumgartner,
him.
that guy,
Man,
so
that was
inspirational.
wow. I mean, he, that space jump.
Yeah,
Uh, 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 James Cameron when he took his submarine down to the Mariana Trench, that
Challenger
cool
Deep,
ass submarine
right?
that he designed, something like that. You don't even need to like have any kind of something that's outlandish. You can even pull stuff because like the original adventure team, they looked at National Geographics to get some ideas, and
Right.
that worked. That
Amazing.
worked.
It
Yeah,
did.
that's how we got Mummy's Tomb and all that stuff.
I would much rather see a GI Joe space diver than a Mobat tank that's Optimus
Yes.
Prime.
Yep.
Like
Mm-hmm.
all that is to me is a money grab.
Yeah.
You're just I want to see a new, innovative, fresh GI Joe. I want to see somebody say, okay, and you can even keep the old stuff. You can do a GI Joe Classics line where you can continue to do your 1/12 stuff, your O-ring stuff. But I want to see a new iteration of GI Joe for the 21st century, and we just haven't seen that. And
Yeah.
it's kind of disheartening.
Because I don't know what's going on because it's like, I would think that Hasbro with their resources and the things that they can buy now, they can buy studios and whatnot, and can't even make something like the Hiss tank without crowdfunding it.
Yeah,
So I'm like, what is it really that expensive to make stuff? Because you know, like you said, they could make a line that stays with the classified and just have the bravery just to put out a line that's kind of like the adventure team,
yeah,
you know. But I'm like, nah, it's all about like what's running it are the investors now. They
yeah.
want
That's a
to say what's
bummer.
paid, and that's what's wrong with things, because I think Greg O'Toole, who worked with Hasbro for a while, doing the classic collection series, was saying, there it's not like influenced by the actual designers now. It's the guy that has the say so now are the stockholders and stuff, the
Yeah,
investors.
such a bummer because it's just it's such an iconic brand, and we all love it so much. But God, it's just the well's been poisoned,
Oh, yeah,
and it's just
because if Barbies can still do their thing, I don't see why Hasbro can't. I mean, you know, Brazil, Falcone, the
awesome.
Falcon. Why are they able to do that? You know, and you have like where you have people from the U.S. paying big money just to get some of that stuff out of Brazil down here. Can't Hasbro see what's going on? It's like that's how that's how bad we want this stuff. We're buying it from Brazil.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you've followed the fellas over there at White Elephant when they launched Super Joe Unlimited, and it was really successful. I think
Hmm.
it sold out. I think the first time they dropped it, and then people continue to buy the figures, and they continue to kind of tease new stuff. They do their convention exclusives. They were so successful that they got Hasbro's attention, right?
Did they?
And I think that they ended up changing. And I could be wrong, but I thought I read that Hasbro had sent them a letter about changing the name, and I thought they bought the name because it was in.
So
I thought so too, but I don't know all the details.
yeah,
Nobody's came out and said anything from White Elephant. I don't believe. If they have, definitely comment and let us know. But
yeah.
what I found interesting is last year at Toy Fair, uh, Mini Mates, those little Lego looking guys,
Hmm.
they had a Super Joe Adventure Team set of Mini Mates. So they had Super Joe, they had the Shield, they had maybe Darkon and another figure, right?
Oh shit.
So everybody was like, hey, what the hell? I thought Super Joe Unlimited owned this trademark or whatever, copyright. And And now that they've changed the name, but what I think happened there is I think Hasbro saw how successful that was, and I think what they're going to do, and I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't have any inside information. I just go by what I think. Usually I'm wrong. I think they're going to give that license of Super Joe to somebody like Super 7, and they're going to say, "Oh, look, we're bringing back the Super GI Joe line in Ultimates or the reaction figure." And I think they're underestimating how pissed off everybody's going to be about that.
Yeah.
They're going to try to capitalize on that nostalgia because they have no like, they don't have their finger on the pulse of the collecting community and our community at all. I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to see Super 7 do either O-Ring or Ultimates Super GI Joe, just the core figures to see how it sells.
Oh my God.
I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. I just had that feeling. Like, I watched an interview with the owner of Super 7, and I think Pixel Dan, when they announced that they're doing the O-Ring figures. And he said that they're going to explore all areas of G.I. Joe lore. And I'm like, I'm working out, swinging my kettlebell. And I said, those MFers are going to do a Super Joe O-Ring or something. I guarantee they're going to, I don't know. I can't guarantee it. I mean, that's silly for me to say that. But
good God, man.
That'd be such a scumbag move if they did that. But
I mean, it's like, look at how Mego is like, doing their thing again, and where they basically went back to their old format, and it worked.
It did.
Back to the old format.
Oh man,
worked. Hasbro, go back to the old format. It will work.
It will work. We'll buy it. I mean, you got a lot of guys with who are retired, got a little money in their pocket, buy some stuff. But I hope that they, I don't know. I hope that maybe this financial recentering that they're apparently trying to do by laying off 1,200 people or how many they laid off, which is really unfortunate, terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hope they're going to figure it out, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for it, which is why Greg Brown and Jim Egner and Brad Curry, and a lot of these other guys in our community are so important because we're the only ones doing anything for each other now.
Yeah. And that's I'm glad I got back into this hobby the way I did, because I can see that like how the community is large enough that we could appeal to younger people, so like people like Gage Masser and
the two younger boys,
Pat's son Jameson, and what's his name, the other kid, his name escapes me right now, Sam Burchett. All of them really young kids that are into this, and to me, like, they're like old souls.
Yep.
The way they're so into it. I mean, such detail that they have. In terms of their collecting habit and everything, it's like they're like reincarnated Joe collectors or something.
That's cool. Yeah, that's so true, man.
It's like, but my thing is, one of my thing is now is like, to kind of present G.I. Joe in a more modern way, that hopefully it will appeal to more younger people, that they will take on the hobby again, because I really hate the notion that it dies with us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of okay with it, but I'm kind of not okay with it. Yeah, like I saw this one guy's channel where it's a channel where the guy runs a used toy store, and some guy came in where he was trying to sell vintage GI Joes, like the '60s stuff, and he was saying, yeah, like how many years ago this would have been easy to move, but nowadays, the guys that collect these are kind of getting really old now, and they really slowed down collecting, and a lot of them are passing away. And that something about what he said there disturbed me,
Yeah.
where that's how they look at us, like we're like, just dying off or something.
Yeah. But I think, I hope like, I hope that a new generation of at least collectors discovers this hobby. And with all of our channels, and
Yeah,
all of us being discovered, and there's people who are fans of all of our channels who probably don't even collect GI Joe. I just think it's cool,
yeah,
and it's amazing when you get young people involved in something like that. Like my channel, I do my channel, a lot of my stuff for my son. Someday when he's older, he can see what he's, he can see me through a different lens. He won't see me as dad. He'll see me as, this is Skunkworks Studios.
yeah,
This
yeah.
was my dad's hobby. And he might find a generation, we might be shocked to find a generation of kids that says, man, I'd really like to go out and find this stuff and do my own photo story.
Right. And they're going to discover that it's actually the best toy for that purpose.
Oh yeah,
There's nothing like 1/6 scale. It is the best format for photography.
for sure.
You know,
It's very versatile and so awesome. And like I said, we have in the Axis of Awesome, we have so many guys our channels are so different, but all, like you said, at the core, we're all the same person.
right.
We're all guys who love playing or going out and doing stuff with our 1/6 scale GI
Yeah.
Joe style figures, man. And
We're kind of like the X-Men, we're
we
in
are.
that one collective, but one is the strong man.
Yeah.
One is the guy that can stretch his arm. One can materialize into, random space. When it's going to be a telekinetic or whatever.
That's a great analogy, man. We are the X-Men. We are
But
and
it's
our lineups
one
change.
cohesive team.
So the Demon's Eye. So what are you going to drop it, you think?
Depends on how fast I can get this repainted and the modification that I want to do on it, because that's a key. That's a key thing, and that's my fault. I should have had that ready. But just like you said, when you do something, things change. It's a fluid affair doing this thing, and it unfortunately for me, it changed in a way where to tell the story that I want, I need an aircraft.
Yep.
And so I just got to get that done. And once that scene is done, everything should go in clockwork, because after the scene with the helicopter, they're in the jungle now, and now it's looking for and exploring the Demon's Eye, and all the mysteries that will unravel.
Cool.
So what
inspired you to do the story?
I'm a storyteller by heart, because my first love is comic book illustration.
Oh, cool.
So like with basically the way the channel is morphing into it started with just one diorama, and all the story is told in that. But the storyteller in me wants to spread his legs and run out in the field.
I love it.
I like stop motion, but I can't do that. It's too much work, too little payoff.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like Ray Harryhausen, and in the documentary where he said, I got out of it because, for a whole year almost, I'm in the studio and I never got to see my son grow up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tragedy.
Yep.
And so, to me, it was like, that's the plight of a stop motion animator. It takes so much time, an inordinate amount of time to do all of that stuff. And so my solution was kind of like an in between, where it's not so much photos, but a moving video.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's why when I shoot my videos, it's never on a tripod. You notice my camera is
Yeah.
always moving. It's always doing that.
Is that why you call it? Is it Viewmatic? Did you call it
Uh, Viewmaster Vision.
Viewmaster Vision? Is that how you came up with that?
Well, because I kept getting comments like, "Oh, it reminds me of Viewmaster Reel." Yeah,
I love that. It's so
I
unique.
always get that. So, but the funny thing was with the dioramas, uh, the way I used to do it, I would shoot a lot of pictures, post it on Facebook, and then upload a video version of it on YouTube. And I was going for that look, and one of the things I'm trying to work on is the way the Viewmaster reels are lit, the way they light their sets, because there's that mood lighting that they put on there,
Right.
especially on darker scenes, and especially like the underwater scene. Now I study it very closely, and one of the things I picked up on was the way they did water. It looked like they stretched like saran wrap
Uh-huh.
in layers to create that water scene. So that's on one of
Oh,
my videos. I did that. I tried
wow.
saran wrap,
Uh-huh.
simulate water. That's the one with the big snake and the boat.
Wow, that's how you did that?
Yeah, that's all that is.
Oh, I thought it
It's
was an
like
app.
I
I
took
thought you did.
saran wrap and I just stretch it by hand to do the
Oh,
cascading water effects.
I thought you used like a filter of some kind to do that.
No, that's all. That's all
That
real
is
in there. It's in the
practical
video.
effects, bud. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you. That I try to not use too much like photoshopped kind of
Yeah,
effect. Although I'm trying to incorporate effects like muzzle flash,
sure. Yeah,
gun, and stuff like that. I still got to figure out how to do that though, because most of my stuff is video and not like for
right.
photography. I think it's easier, for still pictures, but
Yep.
for moving where I'm moving the camera constantly, it might be a little bit more tricky to keep that muzzle flash consistent with the barrel where it is on the shot.
Yeah, I've had some video stuff where I added like a PNG photo to it on my
Okay.
iMovie where I put it in there like blood splatter.
Okay.
It doesn't work as well as what I really want it to, but I like the cheese. I like the cheese effect of it, the cheesiness, because I think that's part of the it's
The
part of
charm.
the fun of it.
Yeah. The charm. It becomes part
Yes.
of the art.
Yeah, that's great, dude. That's
It
great. The
becomes part of
saran
the
wrap idea is brilliant. I thought that was an app. That's so cool. And I love the Viewmaster Vision. That's one of the most unique and cool things I've seen. I love that. I love the fact that you're doing full stories now. I like your other ones. Now, do you use AI to generate the voices? I know does your wife do some of
Yeah.
them?
The Believe it or not, like the voices, that's me,
Uh-huh.
but I use a voice changing app to
Okay.
change my
Yeah.
voice, but that's all my dialogue.
Awesome.
And the only thing is I'm still trying to look for a better voice changing app, because it
Yeah.
doesn't emote very well,
Yeah.
because I use like what I tried like the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, and I tried yelling out, "Get to the chopper,"
Get to the
and
top.
and then it comes out, "Get to the chopper," like
Yeah.
monotone. So it doesn't. So if I want to yell out something like "Look out," it won't do it. The
Well, I
AI
like
won't translate it in that emotive tone.
I like to hit. I'm getting better at hitting up all the guys on the Axis of Awesome for voiceovers, and that's my favorite thing to do. So I'm sure I'll hit you up at some point in time. But when I did my Wild Man of Kathmandu, I did the intro to try to sound like I was from Tibet, and it's turned out my wife. Every time my wife hears it, she starts laughing. She goes, "I can't believe you did that voice," and I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to have fun, you know."
It's fun. It is fun though.
It's
It
so
is
fun
fun.
making these. It's so fun making this stuff.
Yeah, like
It
I'm having loads of fun editing it when I put the voices in,
Oh, it's great.
because nothing is written. I basically shoot the video, and then I decide who ends up talking depending on who is in the shot at the
Yeah.
time. You know, but
Yeah.
it's neat.
That's
It's,
kind of what we did with our, with our last photo story, our at the Kiss one.
yeah.
Is Adam and I kind of we had like a bare bones story, and then we both did ours and sent them to each other and then modified them. But we reached out to people to do voices, and it was a year-long process to do that one.
Mm,
And that was the funniest thing is like
wow.
we would text each other every every so often during the week, and then come up with more and more ideas, and then it kind of just all we only talked twice. We only FaceTime twice during the
Right.
whole process to talk about everything. We texted back and forth, and then Adam. The best thing about doing anything with Adam is Adam just goes. He's all in, man. He's
Yeah.
deep into the swimming pool. He's like, there is no half-assing with him. He's
Yeah.
like, he gets the idea, and then bam, he's just like, he's sending you pictures. I just bought this. I just bought that. And you're like, holy shit. He's going all in. I got to buy some stuff to,
Yeah.
I was so worried when I saw his. I'm like, shit, I got to kind of add some stuff to mine because his was so awesome. Like, and he's right. That's his best photo story. And when you do Demon's Eye, I can't wait to see it because I know you've been working on it for a long time, and I know you've put a lot of time and effort into it, and you've had custom things made for it and everything. And I just love to see you guys do this type of stuff because it it is kind of what we're all about, in a roundabout way. And I really hope that everybody sees us doing this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope Cotswold sees us doing this, and I hope the guys like Jim Edgar, when we put his stuff in our photo stories and give him credit. I hope all those guys really are happy because we're trying to shine a light on how amazing all those guys are.
What I like too is like how a lot of the guys that comment on our videos are starting their channels.
Yeah,
I love that
I
because
do
that
too.
means we're doing stuff and it's working and it's spreading the news and and it's growing.
Yeah.
People are like getting over their fears that it might suck.
Oh no. Yep.
And it's like, nah, just do it, and I guarantee you, if it wasn't as good, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
Yeah. Do you? I always tell everybody, do you. Like, do
Yep.
what makes you happy. Don't worry
Yep.
about anybody else. Don't worry about dislikes, likes, none of that stuff. Just do you. Because
Yep.
if you're genuine and put out you, people are gonna like it.
Yep.
Like genuinely you, people are gonna like it. They're gonna be like, oh, that guy's a cool dude.
That's
He's a
right.
cool dude. And I don't know if you heard me talking to Adam about this, but what I would like to do eventually, if we all could figure it out, logistically, it would be a bitch. But the guys in our group that do photo stories, to almost do like a giant crossover.
Oh my God,
You know what I'm
man,
saying? Like
man.
yeah. I mean, like we've got Pat from Lead Action Joe. Him and Jay have been doing cool stop motion forever. That's their thing. Cody from Pop Locks. I know he's busy, but he does amazing stop motion. And Tom from Spider Monkey does really good stop motion.
Right.
That's their bread and butter. So they could have their stop motion. I do my photo stories. Adam does his photo stories. You do your Viewmaster Vision. And man, I just think you could have a giant, like a Avengers style crossover where we all come up with a
Yeah.
storyline. And I think I told Adam like
Like an anthology style.
that would be a great
All
idea.
it's all connected, but kind of anthology like.
Yes. And each of us do something and then pass the baton and then the next guy goes. And then like we have a big live event where we all talk about it. And then bam, you just get one every month
Yeah.
for like
Well,
a year.
what do you think that needs to happen to make that happen? Like somebody needs to organize it, right?
Yeah, we got to organize it, but I think the biggest hurdle is going to be time. People getting the time to do it. Like it would have to be something where we would plan it in 2024 and then execute it in 2025. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To give everybody ample amount of time, because the last thing you want is somebody like people stressing and having anxiety over whether I'm going to be able to get this done. I don't
Yeah.
want that. I want to plan it and get it planned, and then everybody just will like set a tentative date, and everybody just an anthology is a great idea.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that would be a
Because
great
you can do
idea.
it in your own style.
Yeah. And I think that's something we all should talk about here in the early part of 2024 is to get everybody who does the photo stories on board. And we could even incorporate other people who make customs to like maybe, hey, you want to add something to this? You want to send a custom to me and I can put it in the photo story and then send it back to you or something like that. But I think,
It'll be cool too if we can get it sponsored.
oh my God, wouldn't it be awesome?
Like Cotswold? Oh,
That'd be great if they. That'd be great.
you know?
I mean, we are just a big toy commercial for them. I tell everybody all the time. We,
Oh yeah.
we do giant toy commercials for
Heck
Greg.
yeah. You know.
So, but that's my big dream. I think is to have a giant crossover event because I don't think, you got all these guys who do each other's live streams in the 1/12 or small GI Joe community. They do live streams. This would be so unique
Yeah.
to have this, and I don't think anybody else would be doing that. And I really think that's something I got this idea probably this past summer. Like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could get everybody who does photo stories and stop motion together to create a
Yeah.
multifaceted story, like all of us.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
I think that's something we should do, and I think I said it last when Adam and I were on the live stream a few weeks ago, and I'll say it today. I think if you guys are out there watching, I think this is something that we
Yeah.
should try to make happen.
I mean, you already got the proof of concept going with the fact that you and Adam were able to do a video that's connected.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's proof of concept already that it would work.
yep. You
You
just
just
need,
got to expand on it. That's
yeah, you
all.
just got to expand on it, and I think it would just come down to like we'd have to have, like you said, if it's an anthology series, you got to have a common connection,
Yeah.
and that's what we have to come up with, and then everybody does each of theirs, and we could figure. I think we should just try to figure that out.
Would you do it where they have to get it like at a certain like maybe like how many minutes long?
Yeah, maybe. I would want everybody to stay true to what they do well and when their channel. But yeah, I don't know if a lot of those guys do like 6-minute ones, which would be fine
Yeah.
as long as you're moving the story,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that would be great. I think we could figure it out. I think we can make it happen. I think it's something we should do for sure.
Yeah. Like the way I can see that happening. Like the only thing that we gotta do, I guess, is like for instance, for me, like near the end of the year, that's where my decon season is at.
Right.
I would be like into that mode where I'm working on my stuff. So any other part of the year, I should be good.
Yeah, that's why I say like you do it, you figure it out in 2024 and start making it in 2024, and then you kind of just drop them.
Yeah, I'm down for that, man.
Yeah,
that sounds freaking awesome, dude.
I think that'd be fun, and I think that's what we really should do, and I think that would really kind of really solidify the badassness of our group of people. Because nobody else is doing stuff like that.
Wait to see something like that.
It is a giant anthology series. It's great, like a GI Joe Tales.
Yeah.
And
holy shit, man.
No, and you pick what you want, and then like, it's like
okay, so they're gonna follow a story. Like,
yeah.
are you like are you gonna come up with the main story that we basically kind of latch onto?
I don't know. Maybe like here's an example. You have a military story, like say vintage GI Joes, 1964 Joes. They're in a battle in the jungle or something. Come across an artifact, right? That guy carries that artifact with him and ends up in some dusty adventure team lab. And it doesn't. That's just an idea, but like, yeah, we could just come up with. We could
So
all
kind
come
of
up
like
with a story.
jump off of
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and
that
then
thing,
just keep going.
something like that, or who
That could
knows?
work too. That could work
Anything. I
too.
mean, everybody should come up with an idea, and we could all just
Yeah.
get together and figure it out.
Or figure out, like, establish a beginning and an ending, and it's like it's up to you to get to that point.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We could figure it out, and I think it would be so fun. And it would be an exhibition of each of our channels' creativity
Hmm.
and who we are, and then also who we are as a community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be a good display of that.
that would be one of the funnest things we've ever done. I think.
Yep. I'm
Because
telling you, man, we're gonna this just with that idea, I think we're gonna grow like faster,
oh
and the
yeah, for
hobby will
sure.
grow faster with
Yeah.
all the exposure.
Oh, I think for sure, and I think people would really be interested in our hobby.
Yeah,
Like, hey, look at these guys. These guys who don't know each other didn't know each other at all have
yeah.
all got together and they're all like making this really cool content and
You know,
having a great time doing it.
and you never know. Miracles could happen, and Hasbro notices all this freaking fun we're having. I was like, you know what? I think they have something here.
They send us a cease and desist. Stop doing the GI Joe stuff.
Stop being too awesome, man.
The Axis of Awesome, you guys can't even call yourselves that anymore. Well, hey man, it's been a great conversation, dude. I had a great time.
Yeah,
I love riffing with you. I'm so glad we got a chance to do it.
Yeah.
When Monster Palooza comes up, I think I wanted to talk to you after last year's, but definitely Monster Palooza comes around. I want to shoot the bull with you on that because I love that con and I love a lot of the artists that are there, and I think it'd be super cool to have you do like a follow up for that.
Yeah, anytime you need me on, man.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's gonna be fun. Best wishes to you and Atomic Mushroom Toys. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy everything worked out the way you really wanted it to.
Yeah,
I think those are super cool robots, man, and I can't wait to see what you're gonna do next. You should definitely put one of those in a GI Joe storyline.
Well, you had an idea in my head with that Shogun Warriors thing when we first met.
Oh man, I know, dude. I know.
You know,
Robert, I hope you have a happy new year, man. Best wishes to you and your family. We'll be in touch about this massive crossover, and keep living. Before we go, tell everybody where they can find you.
Find me. I've got. I'm on Instagram. Atomic Mushroom Toys. I'm on Facebook. You can look for Robert De Castro. I have another YouTube channel for Atomic Mushroom Toys, and we got a website where we sell all our stuff at www.atomicmushroomtoys.net. Don't put .com because that will take you to a Japanese porn site.
Whoa.
Yep.
I might just put .com for the hell of it now. I put the link to your YouTube channel in the description of this video. Stick around. I'll talk to you for a few minutes after this. Man, I really appreciate all this. Go ahead and send us off.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you for the support. We're nearly 500 subscribers, and I appreciate it all. And thanks to those people that supported the Galaxy Titans. That was awesome. Thank you.
Shoot. All right, Robert. Guys, keep living the adventure. And cheers. Later, guys.